Okay, so this is going to be a tutorial, video tutorial for making a DVD or compilation DVD. We're going to be using TMPGEnc Authoring Works 4. That's this right here. What else? Other than that, you'll also need some files that you've already ripped to your PC. You can learn how to do that in the tutorial for ripping files off of a DVD. I'm going to use test rip. That's what we ripped in the last tutorial. I'm just going to use that 3 times as opposed to using 3 different files. And what you'll also need is custom artwork if you want to use custom artwork. Typically what I use is a main menu page and a menu chapter page, and I'll show you that in a bit when we get to it. So this is version 4 of TMPGEnc. It's called Authoring Works. The prior version was called like DVD Author or something like that, but it's the same program. It's just the menu for the program changed a little bit. It's got almost the same features. It's added a couple things like Blu-ray. Let's open that up and I'll show you here. So if you're familiar with the 3 whatever versions of this program, you'll notice that the start menu is way different. It's got mostly the same features. It's just a much different look to it. What they did add is they added some Blu-ray disc compatibility and stuff like that, but I'm not going to be using any of that at all. So what we have in this program is on the top ribbon here, it's kind of like a ribbon that tracks progress. We're right now at start. You see it's lit up. We can go into source if we want to. Everything else is grayed out. We're going to go to start a new project here. Now again, this is the way I build my comps. It's not necessarily the right way or the wrong way, just a way that works for me. It's kind of an intermediate. It's not the most difficult way to do it. It's not the easiest way to do it. I find there's ways to do it easier, but you'll have less control over the finished product. There's ways to do it that are harder. You'll have more control over the finished product. This is kind of right down the middle. It gives me just as much control as I need. I think my DVDs end up coming out pretty nice, and it's fairly simple if you just follow these steps. So we went into create a new project or start a new project, and we get this menu right here. Now, there's a couple things to notice here. One, the progress ribbon link to menu is still blocked off. As long as there's any tracks open without a clip in it, you won't be able to get to that menu, which is kind of a good thing. It's a nice safety net, so you don't accidentally build a DVD with a link that doesn't go anywhere. Something else to take into consideration here, we have if you hit this arrow and pull the drop down, there's a add first play track, which is kind of cool. I do that occasionally. I add like a 10 to 15 second clip that says like second coming video or something like that. That'll play before the first menu pops up for the user. But we're not going to do that today. So track 1, we have this big add a clip screen. There are a couple ways to go about doing this. We could use the source wizard, which are pretty useless most of the time. We can add a file, which will have you browse for it. We're not going to do that either. The easiest way to do it is we're just going to take our clip. Like I said, I'm going to use test rip, which we made in the last tutorial, the ripping from DVD using DVD shrink. So test rip, I'm just going to take the whole folder. This is the folder that contains the audio TS and the video TS. I'm going to take the whole folder and just drag it right here. And we get this screen. This just shows you that you're using the right clip. We're going to check off here, signifying that this is the clip we want to use. We hit next. This is kind of a personal preference. Import chapter entry points. It's just asking, do you want the program to add chapters inside your selected clip? Typically, since we're doing matches and they're about 15 to maybe 30 minutes in average a piece, I leave this unchecked. We'll go to OK. It'll bring you to this menu. You can change the title if you like. I never mess with anything on this menu. I think the defaults are fine. But to get out of this menu, you have to go through Cut, Edit. and we happened to trim the clips to where we needed them when we extracted them from the DVD. But if you needed to trim it any further, if you notice it ran a little long, you can set your start mark with this, kind of scrub, and then set your start mark right here. And you can set it to end by finding your end spot and then just tagging this button right here sets the end frame. And also if you wanted to, like let's say there's a commercial or something in the middle, you can start and end on a commercial and hit the scissors and it'll delete that clip. So basically just go to where the commercials are, you start, you set a start frame, then you set an end frame at the end of the commercials, hit the scissors, it'll pop that right out, which is really, it comes in handy if you're working with TV footage. So once you have the clip trimmed to where you want it to be trimmed, we're just going to hit OK. We go to add a track to work for the next, to go on to the next one. Again, I'm just going to use the same file all 3 times. I'm doing 3 so you get kind of a feel for what the menus look like when they're set up. So we'll tag nothing in here. We will go to cut edit. We will go OK because we don't need to trim anything. So now we have 2 tracks with video files. We're going to do one more, add a track, test rip right in there. Cut edit and OK. So now we have 3 files with 3 video clips. You see now that we have a video clip for every track open. We can go into the menu. So we're going to go ahead and clip menu. Now, this program, the one thing that's kind of annoying is building a menu. You kind of have to remember the settings that you use. What I typically do is I save a template once I'm done with it if I like it, and then the next set I do, I'll just use the same template and switch in and out the menus and stuff like that. But as long as you follow this tutorial, you should be fine. When we get to this, this is the first menu page. It gives you an option of your aspect ratio. You can do standard. You can also do widescreen if you like. Well, for these tests, we'll just do standard. You have the choice to create a menu based on template. We don't want to do that because their templates are kind of limited and they're already built. We don't want no menu. We want to build a menu. So we're going to go to create a custom menu by choosing layouts and items. That kind of lets you pick and choose the features that you want to use. So we are going to have create a title page in the top menu checked and create a title page in the track menus unchecked. You don't have to worry about the audio subtitles. This is a personal preference. It's when displaying menu playback, display the menu page containing the current title chapter. So if you're in a particular chapter, when you go to the menu, it'll kind of bring you to the page that chapter's on. It's pretty much a useless feature. We'll go to next. So the only 2 that we really need to pay attention to are top menu, because that's the only menu we're going to use, and the navigation button. Top menu, we want something with a good amount of tracks. This has, if you notice, this has, you see 6 little tracks there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This has 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These, the green boxes, these are all thumbnails for video clips. So if you wanted to use video in your menu, which I don't do, I always use text. I go with 8. Number 8 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clips per page, or 8 tracks per page, which I think is a pretty good number. And for navigation button, I always use text. I'm not into all these wingdings and arrows and fancy stuff. I just like to write the names of the tracks and everything like that. Track menu doesn't matter because we're not going to use it. Thumbnail doesn't matter because we're not going to use it. And background, we're gonna insert our own background. So the only things you really need to pay attention to are top menu, navigation button. We're going to have top menu only. So these 2 ask you disk insertion action. What do you want the finished DVD to do when you put it into a DVD player? We're going to have display top menu. We don't want it to go right into playing the tracks. We want it to display the top menu so the user can pick which track they want to watch. The next box is track playback end action. So when I'm watching, let's say, track number 4, when track number 4 ends, what is it going to do? Is it going to go back to the menu, or is it going to go on to track number 5? People get annoyed by this by what you want to do is you want to make it play the next track. If you do display the top menu, I don't know, people have a problem with that. So play the next track. So if you're on track number 4, it's going to go on to number 5. You can either do that or play the next track and disc loop. So if your disc has 5 tracks, you're on number 4, it finishes, it'll go on to number 5. When that finishes, it'll go back to number 1. With play the next track, I think it goes back to the menu. That's fine for me. So we're just going to go play the next track.